Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So tonight we are going to be diving into it. Welcome to Dario. Welcome to Derry, episode 3, and now you see it. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into this, guys. I'm excited to be able to do this again. So let's do this. And hey, Rossie,
What's up, John? How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
What's up,
So,
everyone?
what's up, everyone? I hope you guys are doing good tonight. And guys, we're going to be diving into episode 3 of Derry. Welcome to Derry. This is actually called Now You See It. So going into this, at first I was kind of taken back. I'm like, wait, they're going into 1908
Right.
because I know in season 3 they're wanting to start doing 1908, do that kind of story. I'm like, okay,
Right.
so are we taking a break from the main kids that we know
Yeah.
and stuff? And is this going to be the main focus? I'm like, I'm okay with this if this is where we're going to go.
Right.
So at first, we're introduced to this other new character that we don't even have any basis for or anything like that. We just see him going into this freak show, this carny kind of thing.
Right.
And, I really enjoyed seeing this aspect of it because it's very atmospheric. It's very different than what we normally see.
Right.
And I really loved how it opened up to that because we're being introduced to this character. And he's going to the Hall of Mirrors. He sees the old man telling the kid to move closer. The old man lights a match and scares the hell out of him. Find out the kid's name is actually Francis.
Right.
And he also befriends an Indian woman named Rose.
Right.
So a lot of stuff is happening within this episode on the way it develops. But what did you think of the opening episode?
I love the opening episode. Whenever you have an opening episode and they're at the circus and, it's something like that, it's always a pivotal part of the story. I didn't know, at first I didn't know Francis was, Shaw, General Shaw as a kid. But I liked when he went into the house of, is it the haunted house or the House of Mirrors, where
It's
he's
the House of Mirrors, yeah.
okay, the House of Mirrors, and which was really spooky. I must say, I'm waiting for the jump scare. And then you see that dude with the one eye missing, and he's just this skeleton-like body, and freaks the kid out, and the kid runs out of there. So that opening, I was like, okay, let's go. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in this episode. So I love their intros.
I definitely do. I love this
Yeah.
intro to it, and then also too, you have the father saying, "Hey, don't be a pussy. You need to go on ahead and not be afraid of this thing."
Right.
And he gives him a slingshot,
Yeah.
and that slingshot is like a callback to the original Losers Club because Beverly actually has a slingshot in the novel,
Okay.
and that's actually her weapon to defeat Pennywise.
Okay.
And in chapter 1 of the one that we grew up in the miniseries and also in the novel as well.
Right.
So I thought it was cool on how they actually paid homage to that while also incorporating this new character, Francis. And
Right.
Francis is, like you said, is this military guy that we know now.
Yeah.
But going into it, I love how he has his friendly side to himself.
Yeah.
He introduces himself to Rose. Rose gets the water. So I definitely love this chemistry between them. It gives them a lot of balance to it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the kids all playing in the field and seeing Francis with Rose, and Rose is the beautiful Native American lady that owns that antique-like shop or the furniture shop in town. So to go back to 1908, seeing the friendship that they had, they actually really liked each other. But of course, because of color barriers, they weren't able to date, and Francis was moving anyways. But that scene of them going into the woods and then, just playing and being encountered by the guy that he saw at the carnival with the one eye, that scene was crazy. And I must say, when they do graphics, it's done so well. I was scared shitless because of this guy running after them and then crawling after them. It was a great scene. They're doing great with the monsters. They really are.
They really are. Like,
Yes.
just using that fear and the anxiety of that
Yes.
old man, and then him flexing, and then the bones cracking, and then him following and running after Francis, and Francis diving
Yes.
underneath the tree. I thought Francis was going to die, to be honest.
I did too.
And then, then all of a sudden you see the rock hit the shape of it,
Right.
and then comes to find out there's actually rules with it that I
Yes.
didn't that I thought was really fascinating. Is like, look, it cannot come out of the woods, so you're safe if you're around this boundary right here. Because as
Right.
soon as the Indians, Native Americans say, "Hey, look, you're making a mistake. We need to go ahead and get him because he
Right.
doesn't know these rules or anything. He's just thinking he's a kid. He can roam anywhere." But it just goes to show, like, we're visitors and stuff like that in other cultures.
Right.
So with us thinking of our own selves, we're like, okay, it's perfectly normal to go into every part of the woods, but
Right.
Americans have their own way and their own culture and stuff. So I thought it was
Right.
pretty interesting on how they managed to do that.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to some of the people in London.
Yes. Please say hi to the folks.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Clint? I do appreciate you being here as always. Same thing with you, Joey. I do appreciate it. Corey is animated, says just watched the episode. It was really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a really good episode. I really loved it. Um, but then you also have another thing too. After this happens, then you have Lily, who's in the institution, and it's
Oh,
heartbreaking, blaming herself.
yeah.
And I also like how the woman is there with her. He goes, "Life is about the journey. People only believe what they want to
Right.
see with their own eyes." So I
Right.
like the fact that they're using that because it is actually using the illusion
Yes.
in the same kind of perspective as
Yes.
well. It's like people are only choosing what they want to see and what they want to believe instead of seeing what's right in front of them because they have this veil over their eyes because of it, and they're not seeing everything that they should be seeing.
Right.
So I thought that
Yeah.
was pretty neat.
Yeah. I felt bad because I mean, when the doctor's talking to Lily's mom and letting them know that if she continues to have these episodes, we can basically kick up, the treatments that we have, for her. So you're kind of wanting to make sure that she doesn't have any more of these episodes. And we know what the episodes are, but still she has that threat of going back and staying even longer. But when she does leave and her and Ronnie have that encounter at school where Ronnie's like, pissed because she blames Lily for her dad being locked up. And remember, her dad's still locked up behind bars for, you know, um, having a hand in getting rid of the kids, being responsible for those kids dying in that movie theater. So to see them work together, Ronnie and Lily, and kind of know that they need each other.
Right, because they're the
They
only
need each
people that can
other.
actually depend on each other.
Yes.
Because they're the only ones that can see this right now. Right
Yes.
now, they don't know if any other kid could see this or anything like that either.
Right.
But I like the fact that you have these two characters that, like I said before, it's just the circumstances are leaning on both of them because
Yeah.
Lily's damned if she goes on ahead and
Yep.
says what she saw, then she's institutionalized.
Right.
Then you have the stuff of Veronica, who's going to lose her dad if she
Yes.
doesn't tell anybody what's going on. So
Right.
you have those two things coming in together,
Right.
and it's just the circumstances, like we mentioned on episode 2. But the thing that I think that makes it even more fascinating to me is the fact that these girls are stronger together than away from each other because that's what it wants to do is isolate them from each other.
Yes.
And, she said, "Well, why didn't you tell them what you see? Because I'll be institutionalized if I
Yeah.
told them." And she's like, "Well, I'm gonna lose my father because of the decision you made." She goes, "Look, if you want me to tell them I saw that, I saw that. I'll
Right.
do it. I'll do whatever I can to earn your trust back. I am
Right.
sorry." And just her apologizing and being empathetic towards Veronica, and Veronica being also empathetic to Lily,
Yeah.
I thought the counterbalance between them were fantastic.
No,
I was really
absolutely.
moved with it.
I love their friendship, and I love the fact, like you said, that they do come together to realize that we need each other, and they do like each other. Like to Ronnie, Lily's a real friend, to Lily, Ronnie is just a real good friend. She doesn't care about the other kids at school, and they both have the same issue with their parents. Like, Ronnie has a past, where the kids alienate her and don't want to be seen with her, and Lily's going through that same thing. So they have each other now, and that understanding. But I love how Will and Richie becomes a part of this group with the girls. And the fact that I love Will's character. He's
Will
such a
is
sweet
great.
kid. Oh, he's great. He's a brilliant kid, such a sweet kid. But I love the fact that, when Richie is like, do you believe what they're saying? Because Ronnie ends up telling, William what's going on. And he's like, I believe it if she believes it. Like, I believe that she believes that that's what happened, which brings them together to kind of figure
Right.
out what is going on.
Right. Let's
Yes.
see. Corey says, "Do you think the 4 kids will be the main group for the rest of the season?" Now, look, I know that
Yeah.
last episode I said I think all these kids are gonna die.
Right.
Here's the thing: Will is the exception because
Yes.
if Will dies, Mike is not born. So
Right.
that tells me that Will is going to be the only survivor out of this thing.
Right.
Veronica's going to die because of the fact that we actually hear her voice in the drain on It
Yes.
Chapter 1. So she's gone.
Right.
Even the patty cake girl, I think, is going to be dead too.
Yes. Yes.
So, which I'm kind of cheering for.
Yeah, I can't stand
But,
that.
but I think that the only survivor that you're going to get is Will, and that's it. And all I have to say is don't get attached to these characters
Yeah.
because of the fact that these characters are going to be gone. Because if we didn't
Right.
have these, here's the thing: if they defeated It in the first place, then we wouldn't have the Losers Club either.
Yes.
So think of it like that too. But that's a good question. I'm glad that you asked me that question. Feel free to go ahead and ask us any more questions. But then we have Clint Bowers. Okay, so I made a mistake on episode 2, thinking that
Okay.
was actually Henry Bowers' dad. That's his
Okay.
grandfather. Butch is
Okay.
actually Henry's father. The one in the
Okay.
bar, that's actually Henry's father.
Okay.
So I just want to clear that up because I'm like, oh, I screwed that up. But still, it's hard to keep certain timelines in check. But the fact that he goes over to Veronica's dad and goes, well, why did we have this person tell us that you were over at the theater at this time if your wife said that you were at home? Yeah, and we're gonna have to send you over to Shawshank, and Shawshank is also another Easter egg for Shawshank Redemption. It's all
Right.
connected in with this connective tissue of Castle Rock, which is
Right.
also part of Derry. But it just sucks that it has manipulated this police captain so much
Yes.
that he's willing to put an innocent man in prison
Right.
because of the dark veil that's over this person's eyes. And it's sad to see this. And and then Lily still tells Veronica about what happened at the grocery store. So I thought that was
Yes.
good that she actually opened up about that.
Right.
So what do you want to go on ahead, talk about the Clint Bowers thing if you want?
Well, no, what I was wanting to mention was when when Lily brings the rest of the kids to the lighthouse, the club where they're at, and
Mhm.
Richie is kind of wanting to know more about, okay, so tell me about what happened, and he kind of opens up about in Cuba how they deal with spirits and how they're able to call them and get them together, and to try to figure out what's going on to help the girls, and which leads them to that cemetery, which was, I must say, another awesome scene, and the anxiety of the whole situation, not knowing if one of the kids aren't going to
My
make it
mouth
out,
yeah, that cemetery scene scared the crap out of me
Oh,
because
same
Richie
here.
goes on ahead, and I like how he actually covers the boogeyman in his culture. He's like,
Yes.
yeah, we'll go on ahead, we'll summon this demon and everything out in the cemetery, and we'll try and get this. And their bright idea and their innocence of the child is like,
Right.
we're going to take pictures so we can prove to the parents and everything
Yes.
that this is actually legit. And
Right.
then come to find out, Richie doesn't know crap about summoning no demons. He just does the candles. And then all of a sudden, crap started going down whenever they started leaving the cemetery. And I like how
Yes.
they do this camera angle of as they're going towards the exit of the
Yeah.
cemetery, it's getting
Yeah.
further and further, what I'm saying, away from
Yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have the thing of God, the little statue, like
Yes.
smirking. I'm like, okay, now you know that we're in for a ride right now
And what a ride it
because
was. It was an awesome ride. I mean, to see the kids that died at the movie theater, to see the little girl right behind, it was freaky. It was scary. And you're panicking with the kids because at this point, like you said, John, don't get attached to any characters. So in everyone's mind, it should be who's next?
right,
Who's going to make it out? And then when you realize that Will is not with them, I'm like, well, of course he can't be dead. There's no way. But
Right, I
he's
was saying that
gone for a
too.
while. So you start thinking, oh my God, he didn't make it, because the last thing you saw of him was he saw something and he's gone.
Right. Because that's the first instinct was like, okay, Will's safe. I don't have to worry about safe
Yes.
about Will. Will's safe. Then all of a sudden you see him go over to this hill, and
Right.
then you see what happens. And I'm like, okay, am I wrong about this? But I'm not wrong. But still, it's like, oh my gosh, you're
Right.
scaring the. And then you also have Veronica and them that are. I like how they're doing this thing with the camera. If one of them drops it, the other one picks
So
it up, and I love this. And they're also taking pictures of it
yes.
as well. And that's actually something else that it was scared of, was the light of the camera as
Right.
well. So you have a little bit of a weakness with it when it comes down to him taking pictures, because he does not want to be found out that he is the one haunting this town.
Right.
But I felt scared for Will, especially when all you see afterwards, whenever he has the camera, is like a flash of light, and that's it.
Right.
And then finally, when Veronica and them get towards the end of the cemetery, he's like, "Where's Will?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Where is he?" And then next thing you know, you see a bike coming down the hill, and then there's the fog. I'm like, "It better not be it on a bike
Yeah.
and pretending to be Will when it's not." That was my first instinct.
Okay. I was so happy to see him,
Me
and
too.
I'm with you with the camera. The camera thing, I don't know if you were doing it, but I'm talking to the TV, "Get the camera.
Mhm.
Someone get the camera," because they need this camera. And I love how they bring the audience in. You're riding that bike with those kids. You're wanting to make sure that that camera doesn't get left behind, that they get that camera, because you want them to get those shots to make, and you're hoping that they caught them on film, that it will come out, that it's not just a blank piece of paper that comes out, that they catch
Right.
that. So that was just a really intense scene, and happy to see all the kids get out, and the fact that Will is really crushing on Ronnie and them embracing each other, because they're all happy that they made it out. And we have Richie, who's really funny. I think he's just the cutest little boy. But I love this group of kids, and I
Me
hate
too.
to find out which one's not going to make it. And then from here, we're back at the military base, and the majors, who was his name? The one that has the shine shows
Dick.
up to, yeah,
Dick Harlan.
that,
Hold on.
yeah, him. And the major talking to him when he shows up to his house for dinner, and trying to figure out what is it about this man, because of the experience that they had up at in the flight when
Right,
he,
because remember, he was holding the cigar box, and then he's like,
yes,
"Is this like, why are you gonna smoke cigars now, right now?" He
yeah,
goes, this is not what you think it is." And it's the
right,
slingshot that Francis had in his hand,
yes,
and he's holding on to it, and he goes, and he starts wigging out according to what Will's father is picturing in his head. He goes, "Look, we got to turn back around." He even tried calling. He goes, "No, you need to keep
yep,
going." Because
yep,
this is his first experience with Dick, so he doesn't
yeah,
know what Dick is actually capable of. He thinks
right,
that there's something wrong, but there isn't, and he goes um towards the area that he's talking about and stuff.
right,
And then as he's doing this, he's having this vision,
yes,
and he finally sees Pennywise's box, and Pennywise is
yeah,
also surprised that he's even just been made out. He goes, "What
right,
are you doing here? Who are you?"
right,
And then it is also, I think, is scared because he has the shine, because certain ghosts and stuff like that are afraid of people that have the shine.
right,
And he's just surprised that someone found him out. And so during that time, he's seeing his dead grandmother up in the
yeah,
up there,
yeah,
and she's like, "You need to run." So in his mind, he's thinking that he's over there where it is,
right,
and instead he's actually opening up the the hatch for the airplane.
right. Yeah, that was an awesome scene to see, the eyes of Pennywise, and like you said, for him to be surprised, like, "What are you doing here?" Like, how are you here?" And seeing all the kids' toys fall, the dollhouse, and you see the stack of just toys, or what dolls, just that is in that little area where he's, where he's imagining that he's somewhere else. And thank goodness that the major was able to get him, to stop him from actually leaving the plane, because he was in a whole nother world. But to see that was cool, because that's the first time that you really, hear Pennywise talk.
Yes, and I
You know?
love how Bill Skarsgård
Yes.
brings that character to life in that haunting and
Yes.
menacing voice of his. As a matter of
Yes.
fact, I just watched his audition tape
Really?
today. It was in my reels, so I'm like, okay, let me check this out. It was
No way.
him doing the rehearsal for it, and it gave me chills when he did it in
Really?
chapter 2. Yes,
I'm gonna have to search for that. I wanna see that.
it's really great. If I can find it again, I'll send it to you.
Okay. All right.
But also too, I like also after this happens, he gets invited over to the to Will's dad's house,
Yes.
and he goes, "I don't want you to be fucking with me in my head." And I
Right.
like
Right.
how chill he is.
Yeah.
I like how Dick is outside. He's over there smoking a cigarette. Goes, "What makes you think that I'm gonna fuck with you?"
Right.
Goes, because at that moment, that's when Will's dad actually made him. Because remember, he was actually one of the guys that was standing around while he was getting jumped during this whole entire exercise to see if
Yes.
Will's father was able to be able to handle the position in the military and stuff, and the
Right.
job that the other major and stuff wants him to do.
Right.
And he's like, "Look, you were calm, you were level-headed, you were analyzing. There was nothing really in your head.
Right.
Because in the way you handle things today, I want you on I want you to have my 6."
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good scene because I was waiting for them to get together because they've always when they're around each other, they always had that look. They would always just kind of look and kind of trying to figure each other out. So I was happy that he showed up for dinner and he knows, like he knows that he was there. Um, and then when we go back to Rose and when Francis shows up at Rose's store, and because there's this whole thing about the digging, so it's native land and it's burial land, and they don't want that burial land to be touched because of all the digging that they're doing out there. So for him to show up, and the fact that he said that he didn't remember much about Derry, like, yeah, when you leave Derry, you don't remember much. What do you think about that?
okay, so I know a lot about this aspect of it. So
Okay.
basically, if you lived in Derry long enough, you would actually remember stuff that happened around this. But
Okay.
because it's like a poison. Once you leave that town, you forget about stuff that happened. It's like it's all blocked out. But once you get back into that town, it comes into like a rush.
Okay.
Like I want to say it's like a cloud, right? Where it's like a fog in your head whenever
Yep.
you leave, where you don't even remember what happened. So you
Okay.
block it off, and then once you come into that town, you start remembering stuff from your
Okay.
childhood, from those events of it. So it
Okay.
is like the poison of this town.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I do want to piggyback off of you on what you said though about Rose and her nephew sitting inside that conference room, and
Yes.
the nephew knows about it, and
Right.
he's like, "Should we do something about this?" She goes, "No, we just need to leave this alone right now, and let's see what happens." And
Right.
then you wind up seeing the colonel. You see Francis coming into her antique store,
Right.
and he tells her half a truth, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
remember, he's like, because she's like conscious about it. She goes, "Well, I'm just trying to look for something." I forgot what the words was that he says, but he
Yeah.
tells her like a half truth. He goes, "I'm not trying to uh, bring in a weapon or something like that.
Right. It's like a water line. He says they're doing some water
Yeah,
pipes or
that's it.
something like that. Yeah.
Can you tell me the areas where not to go?" Is what he
Right.
tells her. And so therefore, with her telling him that, he's gonna go in those locations that he's not supposed to go in
Right.
to find it. And I believe this. I don't think he's trying to find it to actually destroy another army.
Right.
This is me speculating. I'm thinking he's going in there to basically take it down.
You think so? I don't know.
Because
I'm
he's actually I
Go
don't
ahead.
know. Because think of it like this, it messed with him as a child, and it's messed him
True.
up. So
True.
I was thinking maybe that was his way of actually trying you know, to be face to face with this thing. But at the same
Right.
time, though, it could be a weapon because I could definitely see how the military would want to have this as a weapon to use fear of the enemies with this thing.
Yeah, and that's what I think that's what I mean. I believe that's what he's doing. I believe he's, that's going to be used as a weapon, and that's what he wants to get it for, is a weapon. And even if he doesn't want to, it'll be out of his hands. I mean, they would want to, his superiors would want to, use it as a weapon because you got a lot of people that's in on this, that is looking for it to use for a weapon. So we'll see. But that makes sense too, because of what happened to him when he was a kid, it could be to get rid of him so that it doesn't hurt anyone else.
Right. But it's the military. I don't trust anything
Yeah,
to do
that's what
with
I'm saying. I'm
this.
like, they gonna use it.
Yeah. It'd be nice if we thought that way, but I don't see
Right.
it going that way.
Right.
But now we're also too. I like how basically you have Dick and you also have Leroy talking on the porch still, and he goes, "Where's your son, Will?" He goes, "What are you talking about? I didn't say that you
Right.
were." And he goes, "I didn't tell you anything about my son." He goes, "Oh, your wife must have mentioned him." So
Yeah.
that's when that whole entire thing comes up about "Don't fuck with me" and stuff like that. But I
Right.
just thought it was interesting how they play on that. Um, but I do like how they bring everything in foreshadowing everything that we've seen in the very beginning and bringing it to the forefront with
Yes.
Francis, so it ties
Yes.
in.
Right.
Um, then we also have them after all this that happened at the cemetery, right? I would
Right.
not want to be going to the school on the same night this shit went down. I am sorry. I'm going to bed
Yeah.
after this.
Right.
I'll see you in the morning. We'll develop the pictures. We'll sneak off and we'll figure this thing out. But I'm not
Right.
going to the school, especially when you're dealing with a black light. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're dealing with developing pictures, which I
Right.
know in it, Pennywise will fuck with you in pictures. And
Yes.
I thought for
Yes.
sure those pictures were going to come to life.
Yes.
None of them did, but I thought for sure they were going to do that.
Yeah, when they went and broke into the school, it's like they're on a mission. You know what I mean? They got the film, they're on a mission, and I was too, because I wanted that happen to happen right then and there. And I was so anxious to see, did they get the shots? Did the pictures come out? And when you see the picture of the little girl, the brother's little sister, you see her, and then the last picture that they're looking at it like, what is that? And the faces that they make, and then one of them say, it looks like a clown, and it's
Yeah.
like, I want to see another episode now. I don't want
I
to
do
wait a
too.
week.
As a matter of fact, one of my friends messaged me because he's also watching the series too. He goes, "Do
Uh-huh.
you think that the adults will actually see what they took?" And I
Very
said,
true.
"It would be funny if it was just selfies of them being
Right.
panicked and scared in the cemetery, and there's no pictures of it." The only
Right.
one that I could say that would actually believe them is Francis. I think Francis will be the one to be able to see the pictures
Yes.
because of the fact of his past haunting him and him looking for it.
Right.
That would be the
That's a
only
good
way.
question, though. That's a really good question, because I'm wondering too, that will anyone else be able to see it other than those that have already encountered it? You know? Will the
Right.
parents be able to see it? Will it be just the faces of the kids being scared?
I think that's what's gonna happen. And the only
I believe you. I agree with you, John.
I think that's what's gonna happen is like, okay, we got pictures. We're gonna show the cops. And
Right.
the cop is then you have Clint who's over there like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
And then the only way to actually bring it to the forefront is the military for Francis to look. But how do you the only way to do that is if Will gives the pictures over to his father, Leroy.
Yes.
Hey,
Right.
dad, look, I found something that's really spooky in the cemetery. I think you need to check it out or something.
Right.
You know, let's see here. Preston 1120 says, uh, I wish that wasn't a start of Pennywise series because I was really wanting them to make spin-offs of the kids that died. Thought that would have been good and interesting. You see,
True.
for me, they had this other series called Castle Rock that I was wanting
Yes.
them to make an anthology series around Castle Rock and have it being in Castle Rock and doing
Right.
it that way.
Right.
But I like the way they're doing this because it can interconnects everything, and even with the novel itself, to where we're invested into these new characters that we never even thought that we would actually be invested in the
Right.
first place, and we actually care about them. We're actually have that emotional attachment to these characters.
Right.
He also says because they gave us them, I was thinking it could have been a lot of ways.
Hmm.
But you see, I'm happy that it's not going to be a bunch of spin-offs because of the fact that we are going to get several different series within the timeline of Derry of this town
Right.
because of the town history. So
Yes.
therefore, you don't need to have spin-offs. You can just tell a story
Right.
with the history, and it makes it that more interesting to me. But I get what you're
Absolutely.
saying, though. I think it would be interesting, but I just think this actually enhances it a lot more.
Right.
So that's just my opinion, though. But I'm glad that you thought of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. And I'm with you. I think the history of the town with the spinoffs, there's so much that's happened in this town. You can go on and continue to tell the story, and go back in time. So that's yeah.
yeah. So, I think that this was a good episode. I was on the edge of my seat with the kids, especially with Dick up inside the airplane, though, too, in the aircraft.
Right.
I'm like, oh God, because Ed is actually screwing with Dick
Right.
and stuff too. But I think that this interconnects it and enhances the experience of everything that we know. And I'm actually, like I said, I'm matter of fact, I'm still editing, I'm still recording my stuff of the history of it and
Okay.
stuff like that of Derry.
Nice.
So it's gonna be a 5-part series on YouTube.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be doing a 5-part series of the timelines, the history, and stuff.
Right.
Let's see. Preston says, and I will say, I'm mad that they made it where the kids just sat there in the theater and didn't run off until the baby jumped on one of them because they could have at least had Phil, his sister, or Susie, and what else? Please like and yeah, please like and subscribe, Preston.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teddy
Is it?
live or something to show us as the audience they couldn't leave due to the door being locked. So we
Oh.
could have understood. For me,
Hmm.
I understood because of the fact that they're so haunted by the fact that they seen their friend on the screen and shocked. So
Right.
therefore, they're interacting with the screen in
Right.
the shock of them seeing their
Yeah.
friend, and so they're inviting them to come out of the screen, and they see him coming towards them. So they're just shocked at this
Yeah.
moment. They're not thinking about what could happen
Right. Get
or
out of
anything like
here.
that,
Let's. Yeah.
because even Veronica didn't know that all those people were going to die or
Right.
anything like that. These are kids. These are innocents of the kids. We're thinking as adults, though,
Right.
because as an adult, we would actually do that. As kids, seeing their friend who's the same
Yeah.
age as them, we're not thinking about, oh, this is creepy as fuck. I need to go on ahead and get my friends out of here. No, I see my best friend on the screen. I need to go on ahead and tell him to come out of the screen so we can bring him home because we see
Right.
him. But it's just a total shock of the fact that they seen their friend, and also too, once they start, the baby starts coming out of the screen. That's when they started panicking. They're not
Yeah.
thinking clearly or anything. It's dark. It's a dark movie theater. They don't
Right.
know their surroundings that well, probably, or anything like that either, because of it's being dark. And there's also nobody around other than Veronica, who's doing the projector, who's also walking
Right.
in the projector room. So that's just my logic and everything, but I do understand what you're saying. It's just that for me, as maybe a 10-year-old or 11-year-old kid and stuff, in that innocence of the child,
Trying to
I
save
don't
your
think they would
friend.
think what right,
Yeah, trying to save Maddie. Yeah, yeah, I mean, especially when Maddie's coming towards them, and so to them, he can hear us. If
right,
he's walking towards us, he can hear us. He sees us. We got to save Maddie. We got to get Maddie out of that. Out of that screen. So they're thinking they're gonna be able to save him, not realizing because they're kids that this is gonna go left.
right.
Yeah.
And another thing too is I love what they're going with it, and why didn't they show Phil and Maddie's death that's on the cereal box? It didn't show their dead skeleton bodies like everyone else's and giving us a hint at something in the future. Lots of people are talking on that. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Maddie's deaths and on the cereal box, it didn't show their death skeleton. Okay, it uses a way to manipulate people and manipulate the kids. So if they saw their dead friend as a skeleton, they wouldn't try to embrace him as their own friend. And instead, they would be creeped out and wanting to run. But because
Right.
they've seen somebody that they know in flesh and blood, per
Right.
se, even though they're dead, it makes it all that much more easier because of the fact that the innocence of a child is
Yeah.
the whole entire innocence of a child. People are, but giving us a hint at something for the future. Lots of people are talking about okay, and the cereal box. It didn't show their dead skill. Like I said, they're not going to show that because of the fact it is trying to manipulate these kids into thinking that they're alive. And because if they think that they're alive, they're going to try to interact with this dead
Yeah.
person because all they know right now that there's no dead body.
Right.
They don't because they don't know Teddy's dead. They thought he was just missing, but
Right.
they don't have no idea what they're faced against because now it's like a mystery they're trying to unfold now
Yeah.
because of this. But that's just my thoughts on it. But let me think. But yeah, I'm actually excited for this. I think that
Me
everything
too.
with this episode is good. I know, but they showed everyone else's deaths up close in the movies and everyone else's dead bodies at the cereal boxes, but Phil's and Maddie's. Look, I can keep on saying it over and over again, but that's just my perspective. I understand your frustrations,
Yeah.
but that's the way I'm looking at it. Maybe on the podcast that they have for the HBO thing, maybe they might actually brought that out and
Right.
said those things. So maybe you might want to go on ahead check out their podcast. But as far as me and what makes sense for the show,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going with as far as that goes as a viewer. Because I don't listen to the podcast afterwards or anything like that. I do watch the featurettes, but I don't invest into the podcast or anything like that either because I want to go off of my own thoughts versus hearing
Yeah. Hearing with it.
people who
Yeah.
are behind the scenes and stuff like that. No offense to anybody that likes it. It's just for
Yeah.
me as a podcaster myself, I rather have my own thoughts and intuition on what I think. But,
Right.
you know. So, uh
Overall, though, a good episode. I can't wait for the next episode. It was really good. I loved the slingshot. For me, that was something that I didn't know really remember about. So I love how they broke that down and let us know that there's things that it doesn't like. You know, the slingshot, the flashing of the camera. So this was just great. I'm excited to see what happens. Like we said, will other people be able to see those pictures other than the kids?
and I'm you and I
Yeah.
both said that.
Yeah, I don't
And I
think so.
agree. There's that mystery element of like what are the adults are going to see
Right.
and how is this going to fold into the next episodes and stuff
Yeah.
too. And I love the tension that is bringing and stuff. And I think this is a great episode. Also, too, Andy Muschietti himself, the director of it, was actually in this episode.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was the piano guy at the freak show.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, and the Van Helden rubbing alcohol. Lily brings Ronnie a bottle of rubbing alcohol for
Yep.
the nurse's office to help get the locker paint off her hands. There's a specific insert shot of the bottle revealing that Van Helden branded within this very series. Danielle Van Helden is an 8-year-old girl who disappeared in May 1961, which can't
Hmm.
be coincidence, right? Because it's also
Wow.
the name of the show's art director without the surname spacing.
Okay.
So that's
Wonder
just a
what
little
was
small
that.
Easter egg. And then
That's
Dick
awesome.
Halloran Shines shows him the deadlights and Pennywise wagon.
Yep.
And that's and then Dick sees his grandmother, Rose. Let's see, pop culture hints about alien threats similar to the sci-fi movie posters that have popped up on the show. The posters 1954 Killers from Outer Space on the side of Dick and second hand Rose seem to be another winking nod to Derry's
Hmm.
external threat. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yep. So great episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed our after show. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff here. We have plenty of stuff. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a 5-part series of this, and I already have everything together, all my notes together. As a matter of fact, I did 2 takes last night, so I'm just trying to figure out which one I like better before I actually edit and put that on there. But yeah,
Nice.
guys, please go on ahead, check it out. Rossie, do you have any announcements or anything like that you want to talk about?
No, not at all. Go to Rossie's Clubhouse and check out some of the interviews that I've done. I have Chef Elliott from Portland, Oregon, celebrity chef coming on, and I have Joshua Flores, who has a really awesome movie called Bliss, and he should be coming on Rossie's. He'll be on Movie Lovers Unite coming up this Wednesday. So hope to see you guys.
Okay. Well, guys, that's going to be it as far as this goes. Please like, subscribe. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Preston,
Thank you, guys.
for
Thank you,
commenting.
Preston.
Thank you, Corey. I do appreciate your thoughts as well. And Clint, as always, thank you. And we're going to be out, guys. Thank you again. We can't
Bye,
thank you
guys.
enough. All right. Bye.